DubLab.
Hello, this is Transduction Signal on DubLab Radio, and I'm your host, Trovarsi, along with Orly Gal. She's off gallivanting, playing all over the UK right now, so I am holding us down. Join us each month on DubLab Radio for our show, Transduction Signal. We'll be joined by a featured guest who will share a live performance. We'll go through a short breakdown of their setup, talk about their music, what's happening in their lives, all that good stuff. And this month I have Robin Kampschoer. I'll have him correct me for that one. But he is based just outside of Amsterdam. He's a composer, a live artist, and he's done some amazing collabs with Speedy J, with STOOR, and Pink Noise, and we'll get all into that. But let me bring him in.
Hey,
Robin.
Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I hope I didn't mangle your name too bad.
No, that is
Kampschoer.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
that is absolutely fine. I mean, I have a lot of people say it in different ways, so yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to listen to your performance, to watch it. And do you want to say anything about it, or should I just hit play?
Yeah, it's a little performance, a short performance. I've been doing this kind of stuff for almost 25 years, and I'd say it's a glimpse of what I do or what I can do in a live environment. And yeah, I said, yeah, just put it on and then let's enjoy it and see what happens after.
Awesome. All right, so
Okay.
I'm gonna mute us up. And
Okay then.
That was yay. That was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, thing is that when I look back or listen back to stuff, then I always
Yeah.
think like, okay, maybe I should have gone in a bit a different direction here, or I could have muted that sound earlier, or not kept it in, or I could have done that better or different or whatever. But
We're our
I,
worst critics, you
yeah,
know?
absolutely. And I think you might have the same. I know a lot of other people that have the same as well. So, yeah, fine. But it's
I love the groove. It was groovy, it was bouncy.
yeah,
Um,
and what I always try to do when I play live, I always try to tell a story. But I am also aware that you have to pace your story, not go too fast, not go too slow. Because
mhm,
uh,
mhm.
I like I like a certain flow in it that yeah, isn't too slow, but people also must be able to keep up with it. In a
Right,
way.
right. I have so many questions, but before I start asking the questions, just for people listening that can't see your setup, do you want to just kind of talk about it a little bit? Like just say
Yeah,
like what you're using and how you're using it, like
yeah, for
that sort of
sure.
thing.
I think this was a pretty simple setup. I chose for beats drums. I chose a Roland TR-8S,
Mm.
which is for me a very nice performance instrument for to program drums live and all that kind of stuff, as you
Mm.
saw me do as well.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and for synths, I used the 1010 Music Fireball, which
Okay.
is a wavetable synth from people from LA, a little company, and
Mhm.
yeah, I love the
Yeah,
sound of that.
Aaron is great.
Yeah, yeah,
Aaron is
absolutely.
great.
And that's what you heard in the first part. And the second part, I used a micro freak that
Okay.
from Arturia that I actually I cut the keyboard. I took the keyboard off and I put
Yeah.
a 3D printed thing on under it, so that it's
Nice. I was gonna ask you that.
more
Like I was
compact
like,
for traveling for live things. And
nice.
those were the bells, like the gamelan Indonesian bells.
Okay,
And
okay.
those two, the synths, were sequenced by, for me, the amazing Oxy sequencer. So
Yeah.
hereby, shout out to Emmanuel and his team for making such awesome.
Hell yes.
You know,
Yeah, great
thanks
sequencer.
for them
Great
for
sequencer.
being awesome and making this awesome stuff. And what you heard in the second part, um, as you may know, there are many modes in the Oxy sequencer. So I slowly
Yes.
changed probability stuff and all. So the original pattern with bells slowly changed to something pretty different, and
Yes. Yep.
that was all like by slightly changing values on the probability stuff that's in there, and that is what I like about that sequencer. You can use the same pattern, and if you apply those things on it that they have, it
Uh-huh.
can turn into something completely different. And yeah,
Yes.
and I love that. But what's also very important for me is all these sounds went into a Allen and Heath Zone 96 mixer,
Yeah.
and I really play with the mixer as well. Because this is how I make it dynamic. This is how
Hmm.
I make the breaks, the sort of build-ups and all that kind of stuff. I do all that with the mixer, and I love it when people play a lot with their synths and with their drum machines and all. And but I discovered that yeah, people still like breaks and little drops here and there, and I'm not talking about 3 minute big room Coachella drops, but you know
Right.
uh, you know uh,
Yeah.
no
It's like
no
you're
dis-
mixing into yourself. Like you're
Ex-
controlling and
exactly.
bringing
I'm
things in and
yeah,
out.
yeah. So I discovered, live on stage that things are like this are like really important
Mhm.
for how I want to tell my story.
Right.
Of course, this is for everyone is different. You have many people that focus mainly on synths to improvise. You have many people that maybe focus on drums to improvise. I'm more like playing with drums real time and let synths with LFOs and patterns and stuff do their thing.
Mm.
But yeah, personal, I also really like to use the mixer as an
Hmm.
instrument as well to help me tell the story that I want to tell. With little drops, little breaks here and there, and yeah, for uh, for me, this is an ideal compact setup at the moment. Yeah,
It sounded great. Like,
no,
so,
thank you.
okay, so question. So, what was the bass groove then that was coming from the fireball? Like, there's like a little bouncy bass
No,
line kind of happening?
the bass groove. Well, I'm using a TR8S, and the S stands for samples, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
I've actually loaded my own
Oh, nice. Okay.
TR909 sample set, and it's right here. My real TR909 is right here. And a long time ago, I made a sample set for that for in another drum machine, an analog rhythm that I used to
Okay.
use when playing live. And when I got the TR8S, I used that sample set. I put it in the TR8S. So the
Hmm.
TR8S here sounds like my own 909. And then, of course, I added other samples in it as well. Also, baseline stuff and all that. And this is what you hear. So
Nice.
the groove, the low thing, it came from the TR8S. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's what's really cool about the TR8S. You have like, isn't there like a synth engine in there too, as like as
Here's
well?
it
Yeah.
has an
So it's like samples
FM synth
and the
engine. Yeah.
actual.
And I know, and I've tried it out in the studio here, and I really
Mhm.
like it. And I'm recording this as well for tracks, but I haven't used it live yet because live that thing is like the replacement for my own TR909 that stays in my studio.
Got it. Yeah, you don't
But
want to take out your 909. I mean, I've
not
seen people
anymore.
do it. I've seen people do
I,
it
I
lately,
I
but
will if it's a very special big thing that I absolutely know that it also comes to its own right in a way, then
Mm,
I definitely will. But yeah, I have to say that the TR8S is a really really good machine as well. Also, especially for that money, it's not so
mm,
expensive, and
right.
there are a lot of things like sequencing wise as well that you can do with it that yeah, that are amazing, that I really
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
like. So
Plus the faders. I mean, they have faders per
this is
channel,
the
which
reason.
is
This is the reason
yeah.
why I got it. And let me show you for the analog rhythm. You hear a lot of stumbling right now here.
Uh huh.
I got this one
Ah,
especially
the
to control the volumes and effects on analog rhythm.
the
So
fader fox. It's like one of the
yeah,
fader.
yeah,
I have the one with the knobs.
Okay, okay, Fader
Yeah.
Fox MX12. So faders were for volumes, and those encoders were for the effect for the analog rhythm. So
Okay.
I always needed to bring basically two machines in order to get it working properly. And I
Mm,
thought like, hey, I can do this better. So that's why, yeah, or this can be done better. So that's why I got the TR8S. So
nice.
it's also more compact in a way
Yeah,
than
it
those two
sounded
machines.
great.
Yeah,
It sounded good. It's like loved your own samples added in there.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a compact setup. And just I want to circle back with the DJ mixer. Two things.
yeah.
I want a statement. A friend of mine who's also a live artist recommended because I was bouncing back between mixers, Euro rack mixers, which I still use and stuff, but game changer. She's like, use a DJ mixer, but you have a
Yeah.
DJ background, right?
No,
So
I
no,
don't.
no. Oh,
No.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. So like is your philosophy like help to glue it together and to have that? intricate control and bring it to that mastered quote sound
Yeah, well,
with it, or
I always played live. I started in 1999 because in
nice?
1995 I started buying equipment, and
Okay.
by 1999 I felt like a really young guy that I was like, oh, I've been doing this for 4 years. I know everything already, so I should be able to play live on stage as well. So I took this big setup and I went there, and then very quickly I didn't like the 16 channel mixer anymore because I wasn't able to yeah to do the stuff as I wanted. And then back then Jochem Speedy J
Yes.
was already a DJ mixer. I was using headphones. I felt like, hey, he pre-listens, before he throws something new in. And there are
Yes.
some mixers, 16 channel mixer that you can do that as well, but not really the same as you can do with a DJ mixer, feeling wise, and
Hmm.
and then eventually Ellen and Neat came out with his own 62, I think, and then I felt
I
like,
still
hey,
have a 62.
okay, well there you go, yeah, yeah. But then with the filter and on, and I felt like, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
that's cool. And then they came, of course, with the 92, and then I had a 92, and then a DB4, and now the 96. And yeah, basically, uh, what I love is the character of that mixer, the way how the EQ sounds, and of course the filter. And I love the workflow that you pre-listen with your headphones, and you can you make or select a new sound from a synth. You see if this somehow fits into the story you want to tell, and then this is why for me, for my workflow, a DK mixer is very important. Hang on, I'm not hearing you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Have
no
you
worries.
ever tried? Have you ever tried any other DJ brands? I mean, just other mixers, just to try them,
Uh,
have some fun, or have you always stuck with a
I
zone?
I always stuck with a zone mixer
Mm,
because I tried out Pioneer mixers from other people, but I didn't like their sound. And
okay.
the first Pioneer mixer that I do like the sound from is the new one, the V10.
Okay,
But
I've heard a
that
lot of
one
good
is
things about it.
bigger. That one is bigger, and that one is also very expensive. So
Mm,
I'm considering to add it in my rider for people to arrange either a 96 or a V10. But
mm.
before I do that, I first want to have a go on the V10 somewhere so that I can check it out if it's really what I want it to be.
Right, right. I
Because
feel like a lot of venues at this point can always get their hands on a 92 or a 96. It's
yeah,
become yeah.
I think right now the 96
Hmm.
and the Pioneer V10 are industry standard. You know,
Yeah.
so and then for me the advantage is when I'm booked for a DJ hybrid set.
Mm.
I've been doing that since 2016 because then my manager said like, hey, you should go DJ, and I said like, well, all my friends DJ and they do that 10 times better than me, and for me, normal DJ is too limited. And I knew that Jochem, Speedy J, but also Richie and other people were using a laptop with software, and then they added other stuff outboard
Mm.
on top of that. So then I started doing my DJ hybrid sets, but still, basically what I do then is I use my own music and other people's music. I make loops of that in real time, and then I mix that on the four main channels of the zone mixer. And then on the extra channel, I have the same drum machine that I have now, and that is my DJ set.
Nice. Yeah.
So
That's the great thing about hybrid setups. They could
yeah,
just be so many different ways. Like I'm using hybrid setup too, but it's a lot of some effects and just like
yeah,
playing some of my own stuff, like my own like stems,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
mostly just running the audio through and just
yeah,
because you know how it is. Like you're carrying so much stuff. Like how many effects can you carry? But if you run it through
yeah.
a DAW, you can build a bunch of racks.
That's
You
that's
know,
what I do
like
in my hybrid sets.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have the effects on my DAW, and I have this Zone K2 controller, that I control everything, so I don't have to touch the laptop when I'm playing. And a Zone 96, like the DB4 that I had before, they have their own sound card. So I don't need to bring a sound card. I just plug in my laptop through the USB hub into the 96, and that's it.
very nice. Yeah, yeah. It has like two. So yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you can even do a back to back with two DAWs on the same mixer. So that's yeah, you were mentioning carrying a lot of stuff. In the past 2 years, I've been trying to downsize, a lot of stuff. Also, my live setup. Next thing on my list is again from 1010 Music. This black box.
Oh, yeah. It's good. It's good.
You have one.
Yes, and
Okay,
it's
well,
great. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've used it a lot of times in my live setup. I've
Yeah,
been the only reason why in this particular setup that I have now I'm not using it because I have a DAW. So
yeah,
I'm
okay.
using a hybrid. But before that it was always in there cuz it's just so easy to just throw stems, have them you can change the BPM and it'll stay in sync and yeah, it's pretty
E-
and it's compact.
Exactly that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is why I'm thinking if people book me like yeah, we want you to do a hardware only live set, then that thing would be super awesome to use. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Surgeon doesn't he use I think he uses like one
Yeah.
or two or something like that.
I,
Yeah.
I, I know Surgeon Tony uses one, but there's this other guy called
Oh
Stimming.
yeah, stimming. He uses that's who uses too.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
or yeah, but fine,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's so many devices. It's pretty cool that, being into hardware, we have a lot of options. Although it could give us analysis paralysis, but
That is true, and I still see people like uh, romanticizing like old stuff like yeah an original 909 or original 303 or 808 or whatever.
right.
But what I think, if you look now, there are so many little companies like Oxy, 1010 Music, and many, many, many others that make absolutely amazing equipment.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
also, let's be honest, that is much more catered to like electronic music and electronic dance music than a lot of the old equipment that people still romanticize these days.
Right.
So yeah, if
It's
someone,
more compact, you could replace it like
yeah, and very hands-on,
like
like
oh,
also in the
yes.
workflow, really really developed, like to be hands-on and to do a lot of great stuff with, like yeah, again the TR8S, yeah, it's a much more performance instrument
Mm,
than many of the old things. So yeah,
totally. So so you mentioned, I heard you mentioned earlier that you've been playing for about 25 years.
yeah,
And I know you've participated in a lot of collaborative events, and a
yeah.
couple of them, it's actually where I met you last year
Yeah,
at
yeah, we
ADE
met,
for Pink
yeah, we met at
Noise.
ADE
Yes,
in the
yeah,
upstairs
yeah.
room from the STOOR event. Yeah,
Yes, the
yeah,
Pink Noise. Do you
yeah.
want to like just kind of talk a little bit about that? Like,
About Pig Noise, yeah. Pig Noise is another one of yeah, Speedy J's things that come to his mind, and then he thinks like, "Hey, this can be great. Let's do this." I'm involved with Pig Noise behind the scenes, and
okay.
Pig Noise sort of started as a thing. DJs have many online platforms like Her and Boiler Room and all, that they get an online platform to showcase them, and yeah, I think that was missing a bit for live acts. Also, I've
Mm.
I've I've played at other online platforms, and then when you arrive, nothing is arranged. You cannot put your equipment anywhere most of the time. All that kind of stuff. So Pink Noise was meant as a platform to showcase young or unknown live musicians, but
Hmm.
then in a way that yeah we felt was the right way to showcase them. So one of the spaces in his in Jochem's studio, we converted that to a studio
Very
for people
cool.
to come and visit, and then do a 1 hour set. And then also so we slowly we started thinking like, well, like Store Life, we could also bring this to events,
Hmm.
and then of course when Store do their event in Paradiso here in Amsterdam for the best time, and also this year they are doing 2 nights, and then there's a second room there, and then we thought like, hey, in the second room there we can make that the Pink Noise room.
Hmm.
And the first time we did it, I think it turned out really, really well. We got a lot of great responses from many people that were seeing these unknown live acts that few people had heard of, doing amazing stuff.
Yeah,
And
that's where I saw like, well, I met Megan Labor in
yeah, yeah,
another
yeah,
context, but that's how I discovered Pink Noise because
yeah,
she was playing, and then Mandy, Jungle of Wires.
yeah, yeah. Mandy is awesome
Yes.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah, they both are amazing. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I was like, I got to check this out, and that's then
yeah,
hence where I met you.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
and
it's
then
it's
and
a
then
great
you
space.
you actually
Yeah.
met me when I was like very, very serious, because I was asked to do the changeover sets,
Mhm.
so I did a short ambient opening, and then a Pink Noise act, and then I did two other changeovers, and so I needed to be like stay on like for the whole night, because I needed to listen what the night was going, so I could appropriately bridge the gap to the next artist. But
Nice.
yeah,
Talk about pressure, but that's awesome. You have enough experience. It was sounding amazing. But I do
yeah,
remember chatting with you like, I'm totally improvising right
yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was also me thinking like, oh, let's improvise, let's not prepare anything, and let's just improvise. And then I also had moments there. I know that nobody noticed, but I definitely had moments there like, oh, I should have prepared a little bit in advance here and there. But fine,
I don't think anybody noticed because
no,
it
no, no, but
sounded great. Yeah.
but fine. We all
Yeah.
keep on
Yeah.
learning, right? We all keep on
Right.
learning.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So wait, so speaking of learning, I know I wish we had a little bit longer than an hour. We're coming up on we have we still have some time. So I want to like ask you, I know you mentioned in another one of our conversations about that you do a lot of like collabs, but in your hometown where you actually are helping like younger artists and upcoming artists. Like what is
yeah.
that?
It, it
Do you mind
it's
talking
a
about that?
it's a little foundation here. The foundation is called Strictly Live, from basically from some live musicians, but also from some DJs that started doing also live jams with equipment and all, and they do small events here,
That's very
and
cool.
they basically what I'm doing is I let them stick to their vision, and
Mm.
what I do is if they come up with some crazy idea that I know is going to be very, very expensive or difficult to do, or I explain them like, okay, fine, but if you like now all of a sudden within 1 month want to start a record pressing plant, that is going to cost you, if you want to do it cheap, it's going to cost you 200,000 euros.
Right,
Oh,
right.
they honestly, in their good, all their good faith, because they're young people, they weren't aware, but fine.
Right.
And all many other little things, when they do events and all. I help them, if they have ideas, I help them, make it into a valid concept that is doable, and that is, on
Like
a
for their
sort of.
live setups. You mean like whether like does it matter? It doesn't matter the genre or anything like that.
It's mostly electronic music. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. But
but
they
also,
it doesn't like they could do like ambient or techno or house or whatever. It doesn't
yeah, yeah,
like
in
all
the
okay.
widest
That's
sense
cool.
of the, yeah. And basically, pink noise is the same, like this.
Mhm.
And we also like people who do ambient, or all kinds of other stuff. And
Mhm.
there was one act we had at Pink Noise called Mathilde Noble. She was also at one of at the small festival from this local young organization here in my hometown. So yeah, then things are connected again.
Nice.
And
Nice.
what I love about those young people is that even if their ideas are not always super realistic or whatever, I I love that they try to push their ideas, because that is, how do you
It's
say
like
that?
innovation. Like they're
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you haven't tried it, you have nothing. So I prefer people to come up with spontaneous things than that they think too conservative and say like, oh no, let's not do it. You know?
Right. It's like creating new rules. Like breaking rules and creating new
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
rules.
yeah. In a way,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I love to be part of that as well, and I love to see them grow, get more serious and more experience in things, and I see the quality of their events and their jams and all. I see that improve as well.
Yeah,
And
that's very cool.
yeah,
Oh,
I loved it. Yeah.
that's very cool. Yeah, we have here one of the founders of Southern California Synth Society. So it's not just young people; it's just anybody who wants to learn and start playing live or build modules or things like that. But it's
Yeah,
always
cool.
really inspiring,
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
involved with people in their journey, especially in the beginning. You learn some. I always feel like you learn something too. It's like a two-way street.
I
So
uh,
not only are
I
you
think I
teaching,
think
but
so as
you learn
well. Yeah,
something.
you basically learn something from pretty much everyone, because
Yes.
everyone is on their own journey. Doesn't matter if they're young or old or whatever, or experienced or more novice or whatever. Doesn't matter, because in the end you all have the same passion. You and so you all connect with each other on some way, and then yeah, you grow again. This is how I see it.
So this is a question I usually save for towards the end, but since it's a good segue for what we're talking about, which is what advice then would you give to somebody who's like starting out? They want to start playing live. What's like one piece of advice that you would give them?
Well, what I find very important is to have a lot of fun while doing it. And if they have money for it, I would advise them to buy one hardware synth, one little hardware drum machine, can easily be secondhand, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And dive into effects pedals, also secondhand.
Mm.
Get some cheap secondhand stuff somewhere from a brand you have never heard of, because the pedal world is a whole world in itself in what it can do. And if you want to make the plunge in going into modular, try out VCV Rec first,
Yes,
because
I
this
always say
is
that too.
this is this saves you a lot of money before diving into modules, because as you know,
100%.
Eurorec can get very expensive very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
And in order to
Especially if
learn
you don't know what you want to do, like,
exactly,
you
and
know
in
what I
order to
mean?
learn
Like you're
synthesis, which can be a lot of fun,
right.
and will also help you with the sound design part, with creating your own sound.
Hmm.
This is why I advise people are hardware synths, because I don't want them to end up uh, getting plugins and getting huge sound libraries where they scroll through in order to hopefully find something that they might like. And I think if you have a hardware synth and you start fiddling with that, with the oscillators and the filter and all that kind of stuff, and see what that does,
Yes.
and then you will quickly learn uh, or stumble upon things you like. And when you do it longer, then you will stumble upon those things more easy, because you already know what things do.
Yes.
So
And you learn to recreate sounds
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. And you know
yes.
how the parts work. What does an oscillator do? What does a filter do? What does
The
o-
VCA,
o-
all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think that is very valuable in the long term, to eventually create your own sound, not sound like everyone else. Just
Hmm.
create your own sound and grow. And yeah, grow from that.
Nice. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
makes you a little bit stronger. It's like, yeah, you people definitely fall into the plug-in wormhole too, where it's
yeah.
just
and
like
and it's
300 plugins,
it's not
tons
always
of
easy.
presets, which isn't a terrible thing, but it's like if you don't know what you're doing, it can be very overwhelming and
Yeah,
you
and
might
also,
not
like,
learn much from it.
it's important to keep on having fun. And if it's going to be overwhelming and people start thinking like, oh, yeah, maybe this is not for me, then I say, like,
Right.
well, some of the best techno tracks ever, the Bells, Jeff Mills is one of the best, or of the great, techno tracks ever.
It's like a classic.
He
Yeah.
used a TR-909 and a Yamaha DX100.
Nice.
That's it.
Perfect.
And oh,
Yep.
yeah, maybe some pedals, and I think a Mackie mixer or whatever. And there are many other great tracks, either in techno or house or whatever genre of electronic music, that have used very little amount of machines and just turned out great. So yeah, sometimes
So
less is
keep it
more.
simple.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, in a way, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So with your so I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, releasing music and playing live, and you have your own label now? Like,
Yeah, maybe I should have done this a long time ago, but in the end, that's in hindsight, and that doesn't work either. Looking back, I started it in February.
oh, okay.
I've released a lot of music on many other labels, great
Hmm.
labels, uh, but I felt like, yeah, I had put an EP earlier on just my own Bandcamp under my own name. I put some on there, but I felt like, let's do this good. So I started my own label in February. Uh, I'm working with a distributor in Rotterdam here, so it's apart on my from my Bandcamp. It's also on all other download stores and Spotify and all those kind of things.
Got
And
you.
it's called RKM, and
RKM.
and
Okay.
I released my first release in February. I released my second release in August, and there's a lot of new stuff coming up that I'm working on. And
Is this a label now that you're focusing on just for your music and just kind of focus there?
for now it's just for me.
Okay. Okay.
Eventually, I might also want to release other music from other artists, but I thought for now I just wanted it to be like a zero compromise label for my own stuff. So,
Hmm.
I make something, I like it, I know it's good, and I want it out there without any compromise to any other people that have influence on saying if something should be changed or whatever. So,
Right. Like the artwork and all that
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
and I made the artwork myself as well.
Oh, that's cool.
It's from a painting from one of those young guys that I'm helping out here. He's a painter as well, and he made a black abstract painting, like mainly black and a bit of gray and white and all. And I made like a whole series of close-up photos from that painting.
Oh wow.
So the artwork for every release is one of those close-up photos. So it is still uniform, like the house style of the label, but because of course they are all different photos, they still have each have their own identity. Yeah,
Nice.
that's the story behind the artwork. No,
That's
but
cool.
label, I find it very liberating
Because then
to
you
have.
don't have the pressures to fall into a specific label's sound or whatever. You
Exactly,
just can focus on
exactly.
your own.
You know, I make stuff if I like it, I can release it, and then it's out there, and then I send promos out to people, and then I get responses. Luckily, so far, everyone that I sent it to has loved it, so great, and I've
It's
played it out,
awesome.
and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
you know.
Well, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout, and I will also include the link to the record label
Oh, thank you.
in the description and everything
Yeah.
for sure. Man, like you've done a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, we're almost at the top of the hour, so there's like, but I have
Okay.
so many
Okay.
questions, so we definitely have to do this again.
Okay. My
Is there
my
anything that
pleasure.
you have a burning desire that you want to share before I ask you another question?
Yeah, not really. Apart
Okay,
from that,
okay.
I'm working on an album, which is ambient, down tempo stuff. Working on a lot of other new music.
I know.
Uh,
I like that you're playing different genres because as a composer,
ADE is
you're
coming up. I have a gig on a big festival in ADE, and
oh,
apart from that, there are many people coming to Amsterdam that I want to meet in real time, in real life again, and hang out with. So that's going to be fun, I think. And
yeah. I'm looking
yeah.
forward to seeing you. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
yeah,
to
yeah,
seeing
yeah,
you again.
absolutely. I'm already thinking like, hey, what restaurants can we go to? But I'll let you know. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
nice. Well, let's see. Like, okay, really quick. How did you get started? I mean, you said like, did you play an instrument beforehand, or did you just
When I
immediately
was
go
young,
into?
I drummed for 5 years in my
Okay,
youth. Then in the early '90s, I started going to what they called house parties here, so like raves, but like real raves that were
right.
back then. And then in 1995, I was thinking like, yeah, I've been going to raves for 4 years already. I thought I knew it all, and
And
I
so
saw.
that's when you said you started buying
Then I
like
started buying an
equipment and
Akai
stuff.
APC. Then I wanted better 909 sound, so I bought a TR909, then a TB303, then an Axis Virus, then of course a big mixer with it
Right, that's how you're
to
saying the
and
16
then
channel.
and then I was looking like I have all these equipment, and then in 1999 that was my first live setup as well, and then
Oh wow, that's
from
awesome.
there it yeah. I never looked back in a way. Yeah, that's how it all
That's
started.
that's pretty amazing. We definitely have to do this again. And I need to throw out a disclaimer too. Like we're talking about ADE and all this stuff, but
Yeah.
um by the time people will hear this, it'll be
Oh
out
yeah, yeah,
right
yeah. Okay,
after. So
that
we
was a bit
definitely need to
spontaneous of
do
me, but okay.
no, no, it's
Okay.
great. Like
Okay. Yeah.
it's yeah, like I am looking forward to seeing you again, and we'll
Yeah.
have to
Same.
do this again so we can do the post 80 number
Yeah.
two
Let's
experience.
schedule that in sometime later. Like do a post ADE thing maybe, and yeah, yeah, could be lots of fun for sure.
Yes. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we
Thank you
definitely
for
are
having
going to
me.
do this again.
Very happy
Like,
to be part of this. Yeah, awesome.
awesome. All right. And so my
Thank you
name
so
is
much.
Trovarsi. This is Transduction Signal on DubLab Radio. Thank you for tuning in, listening the first Monday of every month.